There is going to be dramatic change. Everyone is going to get their own little personal assistant on their computer that allows you to do more than whatever was possible 3 months ago, 6 months ago.
This is Thibault. He runs ChatGPT, Codex, and the APIs at OpenAI, the tech powering most of the AI you already use every day. And he just told me that in a few months, people who don't use AI at all will get the same benefits as the ones who've spent the last 2 years figuring it out.
Today, you have to actively prompt and be creative about what you're asking. In the future, that's not the case anymore.
What's gonna make people brilliant, I guess?
If you're a creative person with good ideas, it's a great time to experiment.
Can you show me a workflow everyone should be deploying today?
One thing that I think this will mean is that
my audience is, some of them are developers, but a lot of them are knowledge workers.
Right.
And they're very excited about AI. And what we've been seeing with software engineering, right? Google says 75% of their code is now AI written. So it has been really transformed by AI. And you said something that this transformation will extend to all knowledge work over the next 6 months. So what do you think is going to be changing for people who are knowledge workers?
I think it's not that much that people are going to change as the technology has matured. And now agents are reliable over long horizons. Tasks are capable of using many different tools. Computer use being one of them, browser use. We have added over 100 different plugins that can tap into every little tool that you already use in your life. And the agent and GPT-5.5 is extremely reliable at it. So it's more that the technology has matured and is ready. And so everyone will be able to get benefits from an agent. Whereas before, you had to be a little bit technical and get in there. If it wasn't reliable, if it was struggling 5 minutes in, you kind of maybe had to go into the configuration. And obviously that requires a technical background. That's not the case anymore. So that's why I think it's going to become very widespread.
What do you think is going to change the most? And say, if you take a marketer, what's going to change their day-to-day with agents?
So you're going to look at what can you automate. Oh, maybe I spend 1 hour, doing market research. Or maybe I spend 1 hour summarizing a whole bunch of inbound and emails. Maybe I spend 2 hours going through prospects. And so a lot of the concepts that were advanced concepts, maybe 6 months ago, such as running something on a cron schedule, nowadays it's just in the app. You can just say run this every 12 hours. Do some market research. Send me a PDF.
And it's going to send it to you over email?
Yes, and then you can send it to you over email, or you can just consume it in the app. Maybe you can print it. I did this a couple of weeks ago where I would summarize all the news from Slack and then print it on my printer physically every day, so I would have it with the coffee.
Oh wow, this is very executive way.
It's kind of maybe old school, right? Just kind of want my newspaper. This kind of thing is just is going to be mainstream.
You know what I was really inspired by? I was watching one of your podcasts where you were talking with Greg about having this dashboard. Basically, when you wake up in the morning, you have your coffee. And it just tells you can you approve this? And I'm going to run it. Can you approve? So you just basically read through whatever your AI agent did while you were sleeping and you're approving and it's continuing its work. When do you think it's going to be a reality?
It's not that far off. The technology already exists. It's about packaging it. Mm-hmm. For example, last week we released auto review, which is the concept. It definitely blew my mind when we did the research on it. So you have the main agent doing actions, and then you have a second agent that is verifying all the actions of the first agent and verifying that they are not doing anything that could be harmful to you and in our low risk. And so that's an innovation that came out of our safety team and alignment team, primarily alignment research. And it allows you to run an agent much more for longer periods of time autonomously, even handling quite sensitive data without risking, for example, your agent sending an email to a stranger with some of your personal information in there. Now that you have these pieces to make it more secure, more safe, and you're willing to give access to a lot of things in your life.
How do we organize our data? Imagine we're all getting ready to deploy our first agent, right?
Right.
And the thing is, agent needs good data. And sometimes, I've been working with mostly my tone of voice, personal dossier, but then I realized that my agent would really benefit from knowing my strategy when it creates content for me. So what would you say to someone who's just starting out? How do they organize this data? What are the must-have files that they have to create?
I organize everything on local files on my computer. So I have a folder, I have my notes in there. I keep it like fairly tidy, and I use my agent to organize it.
But
and then it
what happens
grows
when you
over
travel?
time.
That's my question. People work with local computers. I have a laptop that I travel with. I have 2 Macs, one in my studio,
Yes.
one in my office.
Yeah. So what we're going to see over the next 3 months is all of this is going to come to the cloud, and you're not going to have to manage like local files on just your laptop. And then if you happen to travel and you're on your phone, now suddenly it's not the same agent.
Yeah.
And that's annoying because you have 2 separate entities that you need to sort of map to different things in your life. So a lot of this is going to come to the cloud. It's going to manage its own memory. It's going to manage, help you manage like files that are just like hosted somewhere. There's no good solution yet, which is, sort of surprising.
Yeah, I'm just putting everything to my Google Drive and I'm connecting a Google Drive folder.
Yeah, that works. That works.
What are the files that everyone should come up with for their agents? If we're talking about productivity for knowledge workers.
Yes, tone of voice is a good one. And for that, maybe surprisingly, I don't recommend, actually trying to explain your tone of voice. I recommend just including examples of, past, newsletters maybe that you published, or, snippets from, recordings, or, messages that you sent, to friends and in different, maybe professional and personal settings. I have a lot of notes around projects that I have. Various each project has its own folder with various files in it.
Yeah.
And then contacts. But you don't have to maintain everything in files. You can also just rely on all the productivity apps that you already have, and then Codex, for example, will be able to go and pull the right information.
How do you know when you stay inside a project or you want to Codex to actually build something like a tool or an app?
Sometimes I feel I need a dedicated app for a new use case, and then I go and I create a new folder, and then I just experiment in there. But nowadays, more and more, I feel I need less of static apps that just can do one thing, and I rely just more on my agent to do everything for me.
If somebody starts using agents and somebody doesn't, what's the difference in their productivity in, say, 1 or 3 years?
1 to 3 years, that's so far off. The technology itself will change so much by then. What we're going to see is people who are willing to adapt and discover these things are going to be quite a bit more productive. And it's going to enable to do all these things that you sort of maybe put off. Everyone is going to get their own little personal assistant on their computer, doing all of maybe filing your taxes, setting up email filters, telling you and helping you get more in touch with your loved ones. That is something that will connect a lot of people.
When I started using more AI, I felt this responsibility dilemma. You just mentioned taxes, right?
Right.
Yeah, AI can totally do taxes for me. And I have this automation that tells me every month how much tax I'm going to owe and what tax strategies I could be deploying. Do I want to be responsible for that? I don't know. When it comes to these tasks, also as an entrepreneur, I totally realize if you're just starting out today, you're much more productive. But if you're an existing entrepreneur, I wouldn't really fire anyone on my team because an AI agent can run it. I would just ask that person to use that AI agent. Where do you see this go? Because I feel when I started running so many agents, I feel responsible that I need to check on them. I need to verify their output. And I'll just let somebody else handle it.
That's interesting. So at the end of the day, humans remain responsible. And then, the way that we think about it is actually just really about augmenting your own capabilities and giving you a tool that allows you to do more than whatever was possible 3 months ago, 6 months ago, and take a lot of the boring parts of the work as well, and just do that automatically for you. It is important as we see this for coding. Is for us, it's if you produce a piece of code, you are responsible for it.
Yeah.
If it breaks, it's not the agent's fault. It's your fault. Same for code review, and you cannot outsource understanding. At the end of the day, humans are still remain in control and remain the people who need to understand the entire system and how things work. And so if you view it under the lens of augmenting your own productivity as a human, it's obviously you need humans. After all, we're building for ourselves to better our own lives.
Yeah, it's just I feel I've become much more productive first, but then I'm because I want to optimize so many things, my brain just started exploding.
There is a pitfall of maybe falling too much into using it for everything and feeling maybe you can do things things, but you're a little bit too early on the capability curve.
Mm.
And so like maybe things, will be possible with future models. That's good. That means that you're pushing and you're sort of like, discovering, where it's reliable, where maybe it needs a little bit more work. And maybe this will be something that